Good morning, all of Tobago. Thank you for having me this morning.
Fantastic. Minister, it's the day. The day has finally arrived. It's the opening day of the Commonwealth Youth Games here in Trinidad and Tobago. The first time ever we are going to be hosting this aspect of Commonwealth in terms of the youngsters. The seventh edition, and it's going to be held here in Trinidad and Tobago. Are you ready? How are you feeling as Minister of Sport and Community Development?
Wow. I feel ready. I think that Trinidad and Tobago is ready. I'm really delighted to see this finally coming to life. It's what we have been talking about, what we have been planning for. Of course, the games were supposed to be held in 2021. So we were bidding as early as 2018. And we won the bid by one vote. And we want to thank everyone who had the confidence in us to give us their vote to win the bid. And here we are, 5 years later, delivering. It's actually coming to life. And you have the different stakeholders in the different corners doing what's necessary to deliver safe and successful games. Of course, hiccups would happen, but we're all pulling our weight and doing our very best. So I'm just happy to see August 4th that we've been talking about the whole time here, and it's happening. Our guests are here. We have over 1,000 athletes already in, and officials already in. They're already out enjoying the sights and sounds of Trinidad and Tobago, training at our facilities. So it's an exciting time for all of us here in Trinidad and Tobago, not only for me, Ministry of Sport or central government, also Tobago House of Assembly. We're seeing both islands come alive for the very first time as we host for the very first time this multi-sport event on both islands. This is the first for Commonwealth Games Federation also, because it's the first time hosting on on two different islands. So the logistics that go into play, so many moving parts, so many people having to do what they need to do to make this thing work. It's a lot of work, but hopefully it will be worth the while in the end.
Yeah, fantastic. And of course, today being the opening ceremony, and as you mentioned, it's going to be the game's going to be held both in Trinidad and in Tobago. Of course, the opening ceremony later on today. What can we expect? How can persons view the games if they can't attend physically? Just take us through that. And what can we expect from the opening ceremony?
Well, hopefully, we're hoping everybody can attend. We want to fill the Hasty Crawford Stadium. We want to fill a Shaw Park multi-purpose complex. Of course, this is the first time we have the ceremony taking place in both places. So at the end of the day, it's just about getting people out. The children, anybody 18 years and under, it's free. So it's a fun event for the family. It costs $50 to get into the opening event. Of course, you have Tribe or Ultimate events that will be putting on the show. We'll see a beautiful showcase of our culture, Moko Jumbies, Pan, Mass, you name it. You're going to have the parade of the different we call it parade of the bands or parade of the different countries, as you usually see in games of this nature. So we look forward to an afternoon of excitement starting at 4 p.m. You can get tickets at www.tickets.com. That is TIKKETS.com, or you can purchase your ticket at the different venues. But remember, for children 18 years and over, free of charge. And if you can't make it, you may be a senior or physically unfit, or you may be at work and still want to be a part of the action, you have a YouTube channel, trinbago2023.com. You can find all the information and all the links and so on for these games.
Fantastic. And I'm happy that you mentioned in terms of where tickets can be purchased, because I've been asked a lot if persons can buy tickets at the venues, because we saw advertised tickets.com. Some persons would have mentioned that they don't possess a credit card and they want to know if they can purchase at the venue. So I'm happy that was cleared up. So yes, folks, you can get out there, check out the games, and you can purchase your tickets at the venues for the different disciplines. And Minister, in terms of the disciplines, right, and at the venues, you can run us through that as well. I know that we have four events happening here in Tobago and 3 in Trinidad.
Okay, great. So in Trinidad, we have the aquatics or swimming taking place at the National Aquatic Center. We have cycling taking place, track cycling at the National Cycling Center. which is our only UCI accredited World Cycling Center in the Caribbean. And track and road cycling will be taking place at the Brian Lara Cricket Academy. As it relates to athletics, which I think is our most supported discipline, that would take place at the Hasty Crawford Stadium. And in Tobago, we have 4 sporting disciplines taking place in Tobago. You have rugby at the Shore Park Recreational Field, which is right up next to Scarborough Sec. You have netball taking place at the Shore Park Multi-Purpose Complex, what we knew to be Shore Park Cultural Complex, and you have the triathlon taking place in the community of Buku and ending at our world-class, very unique and special Buku boat racing facility. And finally, of course, you have beach volleyball taking place at the new beach volleyball of beach sporting facility that was built by the Tobago House of Assembly and I think opened yesterday in Black Rock. As far as I understand, all sites are ready, athletes have already begun training, and we are fired up and ready to go.
Yeah, and Minister, as you touched on that that Black Rock Beach sport facility, of course, it was handed over to the Tobago House of Assembly officially yesterday. And me being on social media, I saw you made several posts in terms of not being invited to the handing over ceremony, and there has been this tension or contention between the local organizing committee, which is the Tobago Task Force, and that of the organizing committee, the overarching organizing committee, with the delivery of this particular facility. And just for clarity, I'm not sure if you can go through the whole timeline of the coming to being of this particular facility, because I saw you mentioned as well, but initially the Pigeon Point Heritage Park was chosen for the beach volleyball, but we are now at a stage where we have this international facility at Black Rock, of course, which Tobagonians are very proud to have. Obviously, after the Commonwealth Games, is going to be used for beach soccer and other sporting disciplines. So, can you just take us through the timeline in terms of the coming on stream of this particular facility?
Matters, I think it's just so unfortunate what this has been, what this has morphed into. At the end of the day, I have been in support, the government has been in support of the Tobago House of Assembly building the beach facility. From the get-go, the concern was always, can we do this thing in time and the way it was done? Let's talk about how this happened. You remember we bid for these games in 2018. At that time, there was a different administration, and politics should not really affect sports like this. And a part of bidding for the Commonwealth Youth Games is we had to keep the cost under $7 million US, because that was somewhere in the vicinity of what Bahamas would have done their games at. So they have a specific threshold and so on. At that point in time, we were also looking at showcasing not only our facilities but also sites. So we saw Pigeon Point. A matter of fact, it was the Tobago House of Assembly of that day that chose Pigeon Point. It would have been cost effective to put in the bleachers and so on, as what's being done here now. And even at the triathlon, you're going to be using bleachers and so on. So when we made the bid, this is what we proposed to the Commonwealth Games Federation. The sites for Tobago were always selected by the Tobago House of Assembly, and the sites in Trinidad were selected by the Ministry of Sport and Community Development in collaboration with the Trinidad and Tobago Commonwealth Games Association and the International Federation and the heads of the national governing body. This is not a government decision. I'm always directed by the heads of the local organizing committee, the national governing body, and of course we have to get the approval of the Commonwealth Games Federation. So in 2018, that's what was one. In 2019, that was the situation. Of course, in 2020 and 2021, there was a lull, and we didn't know if the games were even going to happen due to COVID. It was in June 2022 that we received word from the Commonwealth Games Federation. We had a conference call meeting and a conference call on the phone and so on. and we decided that yes, it's going to happen. Immediately, I contacted WASCO Assistant Secretary Clark. He was on board. That was in June 2022. In July 2022, we made our way to Birmingham, and we were telling everybody about Pigeon Point and about all sites and locations. In August of 2022, Dame Louise and the team from the Commonwealth Games Federation came for the signing. I invited Assistant Secretary Clark to Trinidad, and from there on, I said, every time the Commonwealth Games Federation come to Trinidad and Tobago, we'll have you, Wayne Clark, take them around and show them the sites. And he was showing them Pigeon Point up to the visits down to the end of the year 2022, and in February 2022, he was showing them Pigeon Point. I did not learn of a decision or an intention to change the location from Pigeon Point to the facility in Blackrock until March 4th. On March 4th, we were entertaining the Commonwealth Games Federation officials in looking at the sites, and on our schedule, we were going to Shaw Park and to Buku and to Pigeon Point. It was while we were at Shaw Park looking at the rugby facility, and Mr. George Leacock, who was then appointed by the Tobago House of Assembly to be head of the Tobago Task Force, said he had a conversation with the Chief Secretary, and they have decided that they want to use Blackrock. So he said, okay, let's go over to Blackrock. When we went over to Blackrock, there were trees and everything still there. And I said, okay, when I saw what the site was, I said, guys, here we are, today is March 4th. 5 months, exactly 5 months before the games, and we have to hand over facilities by June 29th. As a matter of fact, you have to remember that the contract says that we were supposed to firm up facilities by the 20th of November 2022. So yes, even though Hazy Crawford was changed, the athletics location was changed from Dwight York to Hazy Crawford, that was changed in November before the deadline. So here we are, in March, the THA making these announcements that they have changed the venue. Remember, I am the signatory on this contract, and there is a process in the contract of which the THA has a copy of it because I provided the contract to them, where there's a process for changing location where you have to write to the chief, the Commonwealth Games Federation. There is a procedure for changing a location, especially after the November 20th deadline of 2022. So I couldn't join in with the assembly and said, hey world, the location has changed. I can't do that. I've signed the contract, and I know that there's a process for changing the location. So I said, if you guys want to use this location, we have to do the necessary. Have you got an environmental clearance? Do you have a plan? We need to show to the Commonwealth Games Federation the necessary documents and share with them the information in order to get their approval. So I couldn't join with you in making these announcements because I know fully well I'm the signatory. All the liability would be on the government of Trinidad and Tobago as the sole guarantor of the contract. And this is not a single-handed decision. I can't just wake up one morning and change a venue. We have to talk with the International Federation. We have to get the written approval of the Commonwealth Games Federation. So immediately I kept saying, hey, we can't do it like this, and kept asking the Tobago House of Assembly, please meet with me. You would see me in text messages and letters asking for a meeting. It got to a point where the Tobago House of Assembly would not speak with me. I'm reaching out to WASP or reaching out to the Chief Secretary, and nobody's willing to speak to me. It was George Leacock who came on the scene and was serving as a mediator. All through this process, the Tobago House of Assembly has not met with me or given me the necessary information to approve their location. So what we're talking about in March 4th, you know you wanted Blackrock. April passed, I'm trying to get a meeting with you. You would see the text messages because I've shared all my receipts. Because I knew I was dealing with a slippery bunch of people, I kept recording everything. Even when I went to cast, waiting on the meeting, waiting for them to come. Even when I walked past, I recorded it because I knew who I was dealing with. And I knew what was up their sleeve. You understand what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, here I was, reaching out, trying to get a meeting, reaching out to George Leacock to be a mediator. So here we had George Leacock telling me, well, Fadi, say this off. And I said, no, it don't operate like that. I have to provide. Because the Commonwealth Games Federation don't want to hear Fadi say. They want documents and commitments and so on. So I've exposed, I've circulated the letters the WhatsApps and so on, and there are more where that came from. You understand what I'm saying? It's just really unfortunate that they would try to use this for political gimmickry. It was I who wrote to the Commonwealth on May 9th saying, I think Black Rock is a wonderful idea. And if there's a better time to show that environmental conservation and infrastructure for sport can work hand in hand, it is now, and Black Rock would be the place.
Yeah.
That letter is also on social media.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, to try to act like the government was fighting you, that's wrong. Even when you lied to the public telling them that the sand was on the seas and the sand wasn't on the seas, and lied to the Commonwealth Games Federation telling them that the sand was on its way, knowing fully well that it hadn't been loaded on the boat yet. It was Douglas Camacho of the local organizing committee reaching out to different agencies in Trinidad that could provide sand because we didn't think the sand would get there on time. It was Sham for Kojo talking to Paula Gopi Schoon and people from ETEC trying to get sand from Magdalena that was brought in for the golf tournament to see if we can build one court. And Mr. Fali Augustine, Chief Secretary, would remember the only time I got the opportunity to really talk to him was last week at the golf tournament function in Magdalena. And I said, hey, we need to huddle, because by that time I had already received a July 24th letter from the Commonwealth Game Federation saying, hey, I am concerned and disappointed and asking me to find an alternative location for beach volleyball. So I said, hey, Chief Secretary, we need to huddle. I need to say something to the Commonwealth Games Federation. You would see I delayed my response to them by 6 days. I waited until the morning that the sun got there to tell them, hey, the sun is here, because I didn't want to respond giving them another lie or telling them like tomorrow. They had lost confidence in us. So whilst the Tobago House of Assembly gets to play politics and so on, I have to mind the matters of state. And I even have the WhatsApp conversation and so on between myself and George Leacock, where we're seeking the intervention of Rohan Sinanan as Minister of Works and the Port Authority Chairman, Mr. Alexander, in order to assist in getting the sand from the port to the location and making sure the clearing and so on was done. So to act now like somebody was fighting you and so on, that is so wrong, and it is so much lies. And at the end of the day, in order for you to shine, you don't have to drag somebody else. The world is watching. And it's really unfortunate that the Tobago House of Assembly would take it in that direction. As to who takes the glory for this facility, that's not my job. That's not my responsibility. This was the Tobago House of Assembly's idea. And you don't need a Commonwealth Games Federation or Commonwealth Youth Games to build a beach facility. If you're building a beach facility for Tobago, then go ahead and do so. We need it. With or without the Commonwealth Youth Games. And as I said to Fali last week, the Chief Secretary last week, don't mind the teething issues. This is going to redound to the benefit of Trinidad and Tobago and the rest of the Caribbean. So don't mind what people are saying now. You just push on with your project, and in the end, all of it will come together. Who was supportive? Me. You understand? So I don't take responsibility for that facility. That facility is the idea and was delivered by the Tobago House of Assembly. All kudos go to them. But my business is to deliver to the Commonwealth Game Federation facilities on time for the youngsters to train. And I missed all deadlines as it relates to that. And the Assembly doesn't care about that. But here we are. We are at this point. It took us a long time to get here, and we are here, and these youngsters, I hope, are going to have a good time as we work together to deliver safe and successful games.
And of course, as you mentioned there, I mean, we really want to deliver successful games there. We are known as a country that, delivers in terms of hosting these events. Minister, I want to thank you so much for being with us here this morning, and I want to encourage Trinidad and Tobago, go out there and support all the games, both in Trinidad and Tobago. I trust you. I trust that, of course, the fans are going to be, they're going to be impacted by whatever the organizing committee has to offer when they get to the different venues. Minister, thank you so much. I'm looking forward to a successful game.
One more word, please. I want to encourage volunteers to come out. We are still short on volunteers in Tobago and in Trinidad. All you folks tapping on social media and doing all that politicking and narrative shaping, go out there, volunteer. The Tobago side of things need volunteers. In Tobago, we need more volunteers. Also, this is our first time, and of course, things would happen. The more hands on board, the merrier, to show our guests a wonderful time. So thank you. Come on out and enjoy the game.
Just before you go, Minister, I'm told that we still have about 5 more minutes to talk about the sports camp that are going to be happening here in Tobago. Yes, I missed that. And of course, the producers allowed the additional time for us to talk about Tobago Sports Camp. And I'm told it's going to happen just after the Commonwealth Games. And I mean, you can touch on that for us.
Lovely. As much as they say we don't support or we don't collaborate, here is the Ministry of Sport and Community Development once again hosting sports camps in Tobago in collaboration with who? The Tobago House of Assembly. The Division of Youth and Community Development and Sport is the Ministry of Sport and Community Development and Sport TT, partnering, funding fully these sport camps in Tobago and in Trinidad, and we're partnering with Tobago House of Assembly. Of course, registration is open right now as we speak. The flyers are out, and we are having registration taking place right now. These camps are going to take place between August 15 and 30, so register your child. Lunches and refreshments and so on, free. So last year we catered to over 500 children throughout Trinidad and Tobago in these camps, and we're expecting a bumper season, if I dare say so, once again for these camps. In Tobago, we are going to be having a Bonaccord basketball, netball, football, at Dwight York Stadium, archery and track and field, at Heritage Park, beach football, at Louisdor, football and netball, at Montgomery Bethel, where I'm from, basketball, football, at Mount St. George, football and jump rope, at Mariah, cricket and golf, at Pigeon Point, dragon boat, at Plymouth, football, hockey and netball, at Shaw Park, chess, tennis, volleyball, at Shaw Park again, football and cricket, at Signal Hill, futsal and golf, at Speyside, football and netball, at YMCA swimming for ages 14 to 18, and we have a host of different disciplines in Trinidad. So come out, support the Ministry of Sport and Community Development, bringing to you once again these sport camps in Tobago, providing activities for the youngsters to engage in and to introduce them to all different sporting disciplines, so that they could improve their development at school, at play, in life. And that is what sport is about. Not only about medals, but developing communities and people and building partnerships. Because here we are once again, the Ministry of Sport and Community Development gets to work hand in hand with the Tobago House of Assembly Division of Sport and Youth in delivering these outstanding sporting camps.
And just share with the public how can persons register. And of course, the camp is free. Is it that they go to the Division of Community Development, Youth Development and Sport? Is it online?
Okay, so
how can persons register?
Registration forms are available online at www.sporttt-tt.com. And for more information, you could call 639-4818 extension 2014 or extension 2025. Hop on board the internet right now and fill out your applications at sporttt-tt.com, please.
And all free of charge. All free of charge.
We have free lunches too.
Right, Minister, we're going to leave it there today. I want to thank you so much for taking time off from your busy schedule to be with us here today. Of course, it's a historic moment in Trinidad and Tobago, in fact, the Caribbean, because I'm told that this is the very first time we're going to have the Caribbean Youth Commonwealth Games here in Tobago. Yes. And this is the platform for us to host the real thing, the Commonwealth Games in Trinidad and Tobago. Thank you so much, Minister, and of course,